And I see one at the front here. And I'll come back to you in a minute. There's two more there. So the one right at the back, please. Yep. Go behind you there. And then we'll do another one from that table. So, okay. Your question, please.
A very good afternoon to the team of panelists here. Very good to listen to everyone about the emotional well-being of the children. So bringing you back, I am a principal of a school in Ludhiana. I am Harmeet. And looking at the post-pandemic era, the schools, how the children have been affected, so there is an element of fear of unknown in the minds of the children. They are socially disconnected, virtually connected, level of confidence going down, physical classrooms have started, but still, one thing which probably post-COVID, what has gone into the minds of the children is don't trust anyone. There is a fear, maintain a distance, you need to maintain that. Now, all these factors are somewhere has hampered their emotional well-being. Do we need a curriculum? Do we need how to tackle this situation now where there is a fear of the unknown continuously in the minds of the children? That is my question. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. One at the back here. So I say the nun at the back there, please. If you could give the microphone to the nun at the back, please. Lady behind. And then we'll come there. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Sister Jessie, principal in ICSE school in Delhi, NCR. My question is to Dr. Reena Valecha. You spoke about overall wellness, and it is well appreciated. And in this post-COVID scenario, there is a lot of stress among students and teachers as well. Over-expectation from parents. And we are at a loss. We are facing many challenges in the school scenario. We expect certain solutions from your end, how to manage the stress among students and teachers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that was excellently brief. If we can come to the table in front of this, and one of the people there, we'll just take one of those questions, if we may, for now. So,
thank you for giving the chance.
And do keep it brief. No, excuse me, sir. Sorry, I'm going to the table in the middle there. We'll come back to you. We'll come back to you afterwards.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Londe, representing Amritwani Institute Sangamner. My question is to Sushma ma'am. What are the structural and policy changes should we propose for maintaining or improving the level of human life index and bringing the position of India that to the level of, we were talking about Finland and Denmark and Sweden and Switzerland at that level. Thank you.
Okay, that's the three we're taking now. I shall come back to you, sir, and there was another one over here, and there's another one. There's a lot of questions, so we'll do more than one set. So we've got post-pandemic, fear of the unknown, socially disconnectedness. Do we need a curriculum that handles that in a more direct way? Post-COVID stress, solutions and how to manage that. And we have the Human Life Index, Structural Human Life Index. Sir, who would like to answer first?
So I can take the first one.
Please go.
My first recommendation would be that, yes, there is a fear of unknown, but I would suggest don't look at curriculum for it. We've got curriculum burden on the students and the teachers, which is immense beforehand. From my view, and again, I'm not an educator, I don't face anything in the classrooms, but I meet a lot of education leaders and educators. What I would recommend is that, sometimes as you come back after 2 years back into the physical classrooms, as school leaders, as teachers, the adjustment that you need to do is put the rules outside of the classroom for a brief time so that you can bring the children back into the classroom. Once you've got them back into the classroom, once that fear is gone, then you can go back to your rules and curriculum and everything. First, make it easier for them to get back into the classroom. And for that, the steps that you have to take is put aside some rules that you've created, which were working or not working pre-pandemic, might not work immediately post-pandemic.
Thank you, Neeraj.
Stories are the best things to bring in all kind of remedies to all different kinds of emotional and social behaviors that we are seeing. Bring that in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can
Rina.
I add to it?
Yes, please.
Yeah. One thing which definitely I have seen, especially during my researches, and y'all can also try it. I don't know how many of you are aware of sensory diet. We use it for the treatment of special education and all. But even in everyone, in adults and especially in kids, when you give that sensory diet, it helps to build their vestibular and that fear of feeling or fear of, that confidence level builds up in students, especially post-COVID. So in sensory diet, what one needs to do is, during the physical education class or maybe before any class begins, that needs to be done before. The sensory diet needs to be given before to all the students in the form of vestibular activities, in the form of joint proprioception. Now, joint proprioception activities as in weight-bearing exercises like jumping, push-ups, or animal dance, like something where they are joints, they are weight-bearing activities. Like for example, today as an adult, I can tell you, okay, you need to do a plank movement to strengthen your core or you strengthen your spine. But today, to tell the same thing to a kid, it becomes very difficult. So we need to incorporate simple strategies in the form of sensory diet, like giving them some Play-Doh, for hand strengthening exercises. It improves their writing speed. Doing some push-up activities, again it improves their core strength, so some proprioception in the shoulder area. Then doing some vestibular activity like jumping, running, or some outdoor activity, when that breathing up increases or that vestibular sensation is there, what happens is automatically all the senses are in line. The neurodevelopment process starts. It helps to reduce that fear, that the confidence increases, and the child becomes more open. The feeling of happiness, because it's physiological, it's natural, it's science. So automatically it happens.
Thank you. Sushma.
So before I make any recommendations, I just like to put it in perspective. Our India skill report says that only 42% people or youth is employable. So first recommendation is that bring in investments so that we can produce more employment for our youth. So that will take care of a lot of things. Second, we aren't really taking career decisions based on any kind of scientifically applied approach. So we should kind of bring in positive psychology in our higher education as well as in our school ecosystems. See, simple teachers with simplicity, they all are already doing their bit. But when it is backed by research, when they are given ways and means, and they do not have to struggle in terms of uplifting their students, be it in the school ecosystem or higher education system, when they're backed by research, that takes the overall productivity and happiness, to an extent. As far as the policy change is concerned, we have rolled out NEP. I would say that we should have like really robust and sustainable ways and means of implementing it and measuring it, that how are we really implementing this framework that we have brought about in ecosystem. And the other thing that I was saying that, look at the ratio of career counselors. Like in USA, there will be about 400, for every 495 children, there will be one career counselor. In India, whether it is higher education or in school ecosystems, we do not have career counselor. Entire India has about not more than 1.5 lakhs career counselor. So we aren't really taking the right kind of decisions while making career choices, getting into, taking longer routes, not really being aware of appropriate study routes, and therefore getting into wrong kind of careers where there is a constant internal conflict going on with most of us, where we're not finding ourselves really happy and successful. So this is the third recommendation I would make. One is bring in positive psychology in our school ecosystems, have systems in place, implementing our policies, increase our budget as far as the education is concerned. So these are some of the simple recommendations that I can make to take our happiness index forward.
Thank you very much.
Given, can I add something?
You can add something?
Yep. So what Sushma was saying about 40% employable youth, right? I think one important factor which was also discussed in the previous segment was about when we talk about employability and why people are not found employable. One is lack of employment opportunities. Second part, which is even more important, is that our system produces, inherent limitation of the system is that our assessments, the way we judge them, is we are promoting the culture of individualism. And at the organization level, you need to work collaboratively. So we need to work to see how do we make more collaborative students moving forward rather than making them compete with each other on one mark to become the first and the second and the third.
So I would just add to that, collaboration is not simply about what happens in the classroom with the pupils, it's what happens with the teachers. So collaboratively, and Dominic talked about listening to how other people teach and sharing that. It's at the school level, the whole school level and the community around the school. So I worked with schools in India, in northern India, and it was not that there weren't any jobs, it's the jobs were in the wrong place. So actually, we have a responsibility, and I think it's always great to blame other people. I like doing it. I expect we all do it a bit. But actually, we should think about the responsibility we can take on ourselves. And so that's speaking to businesses around to make the community of the school bigger by reaching out to others around. That's what I've seen succeed in other parts of this country, also in my country at home. So just suggestions. Now we're going to take another 3 questions, please.
Yes, sir.
We've got one there, which I promised one there, and we've got another one at the front here. I'll keep going, so there will be another 3 after this. Sir, you first.
First of all, Mr. Neeraj Jain sir said that learn from the people in the grounds. I think I represent the students' community in India. The leadership should be given to the students' community. Even the DIDDAC, I don't know exactly, that even the DIDDAC has not organized a session for the students in India. The nucleus of education sector, the leadership really remains in the hands of the students. We have to listen to them, what they have to. And the last session, in the case of assessment also, the teacher assists the students. I believe at least 50% of assessment power to be given to students. And we have to correlate between the students' assessment. So the leadership should be in the hands of.
What's the question?
So the question is that, what if we can do to give the leadership to the hands of the students?
Okay, that's good. Thank you. Now, I said this gentleman over here, so you can run. You can walk over the tables if you like, or maybe not.
So first of all, I would like to thank all the panelists for enlightening us with your wisdom. A very heartfelt thank you to all of you. My question is regarding career counseling. So the first question is, what is the efficacy of career counseling? At what grade or at what standard can we implement it in our school? And how should we implement it tomorrow, starting from tomorrow? Okay.
So you've got a day's grace. Thank you very much. Excellent question. And we've got one at the front here, please. I will try and get round as many as possible, I promise.
My question is to Ms. Sharma. I agree with your statement that many have taken profession very few have taken by choice and more by force or accident. So how do we establish a culture of blame to responsibility?
So change from blame to responsibility. Is that right? Excellent. So we have that change from blame to responsibility. We have career counseling and its quick implementation. if we possibly can, and what steps to take. And we have student community, and I would say the leadership that students can take, and how do we develop that and develop students' voice. I think Neeraj is going to go first.
So
Sorry.
on this,
Whichever. It doesn't. We don't have to do them
All
in
right,
order.
so, all right, a very pertinent question. So as I said that other countries are, focusing on ensuring that there is a framework. So what we can do is that we can launch a career success framework or a career discovery framework in school ecosystem. We can integrate it with the curriculum. Like Gatsby benchmarks are implemented in UK, and they work very closely in UK with schools. They bring in this kind of a framework. So we have a standardized framework for career success in every school. We empower teachers and career counselors in school. They need to be educated about what are the top skills World Economic Forum is talking about by 2030, what kind of jobs would emerge. They need to be informed about labor market information, because labor market information is available in US and the other countries, but in India, this information is not disseminated. So the matchmaking is not happening. There is no agency and organization. So we are one at Launch My Career, but we need more agencies who connect the learner or the youth to the opportunities. So something we can do is that empower, bring in program, train and coach our teachers, so they begin to connect their curriculum with what's going to happen in future. We have to have like a children future ready. And what age? So we will talk about 4 dimensions of this. One is, the first step that we need to take is self-discovery and career discovery. Discover who you are, what's your personality. Allow the child to discover with his or her preferences. See, no one on earth has the right to state your preferences. You have the right to state your own preferences, that what you like. Even a 2-year-old understands that today I want French fries more than an aloo paratha. So they state their preferences at their age, and they understand what they like, what they don't like. So getting connected to your personality is the first step, the self-discovery. And how will that happen? We should imply self-discovery tools. We can implement any psychometric or credible assessment that tells you what your personality is. I'm wearing my personality today. I'm a sea turtle, because that's designed for the learner to connect with. If I'll tell him something that you are introverted, intuitive, feeling and judging, the child will not relate, because that's the personality code that I am. The second dimension is career guidance. Now, career guidance has to act as a cell. It has to be an integrated part of school ecosystem. It doesn't have to run like a disintegrated program outside. It has to be integrated in the school education curriculum. And it's not going to load the schools with curriculum, because a lot of outside agencies come and they recommend a lot of courses. How can we deeply integrate it so that the child is not burdened, but yet they discover themselves? So first is self-discovery, career discovery.
Sushma?
Career discovery is made on, I'm just wrapping up.
Please.
Career discovery made on, credible psychometric assessment. Second thing is empowering the school teachers and counselors. Tell them how the career guidance happens in a school ecosystem. And the third is career readiness, how to prepare the children for the world of work, where the market is going, what is the information, what kind of careers would emerge. Getting them connected to the employers. So this is how we can deal with this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think, Reena, sorry.
More in career counseling, I would say that the first thing, considering the Indian scenario, it's very important to create awareness. Many a times, in spite of having the best of the options or facilities available, students don't know or parents don't know कि okay, these things are available or this could be the possibility. So one thing is create awareness as much as possible through any platforms, depending upon the the leadership approach or how the setup is. Second is the culture. The culture needs to be very that ease of comfort needs to be there, where communication happens. where the person or a child or a parent, there has to be that comfort, ki, okay, I need to communicate. Then you genuinely understand, okay, where the need is. If there is a need, you bring in experts. There are a lot of facilities, there are a lot of options available, but first understand, is the need available, where the need is available, and how I can implement that. Then it becomes very easy, what I feel.
Neeraj, thank you.
On the related subject, I would say, start listening to students more. I think that's the easiest thing that you can do as the school leader. Coming back to the point that the gentleman raised about the students' role in leadership, I think there's an immense scope to allow students to take the leadership role. I see a lot of schools having student councils and class representatives and all those things. But the idea is not just having them there. Idea is also empowering them to take some critical decisions, take some critical steps forward, and allow them the freedom to run it the way they want to. Half the time we create such bodies of students, but we don't give them freedom to implement anything. Like the case in point that I can always bring in is, you've got school library, the books in libraries are decided by whom? It is easily transferable to students because the students are supposed to read those books. But who decides it? In most of the cases, it's the librarian.
That's right. I would just add, most of my work has been on student voice. That's a real area of, you're here. I think that's really good that you're here. If you run a track for students, you get all the students in the student track and everybody else over here. So I think you're being integrated into this discussion is really important, and I'm really pleased that you brought out the point about students. So it's thinking about how we integrate into it. And I think what we do, we had a little discussion yesterday where I talked briefly about saying I use about 5% of my mobile functionality. And if I use 10%, I'd be doing well. And if I use 50%, I'd probably spend all my time on my mobile, but I'd be flying in terms of what I can learn. It's the same with students. We tend to think of them as a kind of a narrow band. But actually, if you use, and we only use 5% of your learning potential, whereas if we start integrating it into a wider context, we'll get to the 50% and you'll be flying. So I think, don't put them in the box that says students. Have them, you also direct the way that learning happens, and that's important. Just on the jobs front, the one other thing, and it's playing off that, riffing off that idea, get your students to design a business. And where I live, 98% of the businesses are small businesses. Get them to think about a business and then get them to critique each other's work and get the ideas coming out and engage their creativity. And in that way, you'll get something. If you then can work with the wider community of the school and ask them to critique what the students have done. I can talk about a lot of different examples where actually students helped fix a serious problem in airline engines, because the companies outside came in, Rolls-Royce it was, came in to ask the students if they could put their creative minds towards solution of a problem that they continue to have. So if you engage with people, then that's the way to get to something which is beginning to move things along the road, as you requested. Anyway, 3 more questions, please. I think I'm going to require that people jump up and down now, because it seems to be happening. We've got one question. The lady here, please. What I'm trying to do is make sure that we have a gender balance in all the questions that were coming here. One on that table behind, yep. And then the one over there at the back there. So, the lady first, please. Your question. Is that? Yeah.
Good afternoon, the panelists. I am Bharti. I'm a retired professor from RV College. I've been a teacher for 35 years. So, my question to Sushma ji. I personally feel Teachers' Happiness Index is a great role in education. And I want to know from you whether there has been any study or a soft skill that has been evolved to impact and influence student-teacher relationship positively. That's my question.
Thank you very much. Impact on student-teacher relationships. Sir, doing that one.
Sir, I am Subhash from Chamrajinagara CBSE school. Just my question is, addressing, parents' expectation are too much nowadays. And we are not at all doing, we are considering that group as one of the stakeholder to motivate children. There we are missing, and how to fulfill their expectation, because child also they are not at all considering. Child becoming a victim for parents, how to come out of that? Thank you.
So motivating children. Excellent to learn, I presume. Sir.
Sir, I am Hitesh Patni, Chairman, Primary Education Board, Vadodara City, in the state of Gujarat. My question is that how technology impacting in modern education compared to conventional education?
So sorry, did you get that?
Yeah.
Or you're okay. Okay, as long as it's not just me, forgive me. So 3 good questions. I hope we've got them. So study impact, motivating children and the role of technology.
Yeah. So yes, from an ergonomics point of view, if you ask health and wellness point, technology definitely has an impact in today's scenario. Before I start, in the group, how many of you are teachers? Just a raise of hand. Almost 50%. Okay. How many of you have ever experienced complaints related to musculoskeletal pain, neck pain, knee pain, back pain? All of you can raise a hand, whoever is experienced, even if you are not a teacher. How many of you have ever experienced that? More than 50%. Just look around and see the number of hands raised. Okay. Tell me few of the reasons why the discomfort is there. I'll walk the talk for a minute. Why do you experience the discomfort?
Be quick.
Yeah? Sitting for long hours, yes. At? Stress, okay. Slouch, which is related to posture. And? Huh? Carrying load, yes. Lifting weights, yes. Walking with the bag. The way you postures, the way we interact with the laptop, where we sit. So now technology, how it is impacting us is the way we sit and adopt the postures. We are sitting for long hours. The way when we sit and work, we don't realize for 2 to 3 hours ki, okay, I am actually sitting in a completely flexed posture, which is not a normal human posture. We are designed to move. We are designed to be in a neutral, normal alignment. But what are we doing today? We are going against the law of nature. No doubt technology is giving us that benefit of, being connected, being very fast and being up to the mark. But what are we doing is, we are bringing in more health-related and ergonomic-related challenges related to neck, back and joint-related pain. Here, it becomes more important that along with the technological advancement compared to the traditional method equally has its own drawbacks. But in current scenario, if technology is playing a mainstay in education, it is equally important for all of us to be aware of what are the changes, simple interventions we need to implement in our routine so that our wellness at work can be taken care of.
Thank you. Niraj.
Okay. I will take the part on the parents' expectation. Yeah. So I'll give you an answer which you might not be able to implement it fully, but the answer lies there only. The more you listen to parents' expectation, the less you will be able to factor in what the child requires. So as a school, learn to say no to the parents and you would do much better. But the other side that I want to bring in, that the pandemic 2 years has actually been a boon on that side, because parents have realized a lot more what the teachers are doing than they realized it beforehand. And they are actually, and I'm a parent, they understand teachers much better today. Use it to your advantage and start saying no to them.
Sushma. Buddha.
Thank you, ma'am, for asking that pertinent question. I do not have any data to support what what I'm going to say, but I feel that yes, teacher community is a bit neglected. If we want a happy learner in the classroom, we have to have happy teachers in the classroom. And I can talk from personal experience that it takes great energy to bring about a lively environment in a classroom. So what a teacher can do is right now, I'm just first making certain recommendations to teachers, is that they need to invest in their own research. They have to have that urge to learn and move forward and educate themselves with research-oriented program until and unless government transforms the programs of building great teachers. We all understand that our peer programs, they need a reform. A new program was launched called BLED. They brought in about a certain sense of research-oriented background to teachers, but then that lacked a little bit of practicality because, as I said, that the leadership in education combines the courage of facing conflicting challenges and turning it upside down. So until and unless the government and the private investors are investing in education, in teachers' education, what we can do is that we can invest in our own learning and just not stop at one program that we do to build our professional skills. Keep learning whatever the new researches come in the field of education, pedagogies, positive psychology, and all of that is going to get you going because resilience is something that we all need as teacher community. One teacher can transform everything if she has that kind of resilience. So I admit that we need to be more happy. Some of the private organizations have now started building their own teacher education programs, which are new age. We should look at those options. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can I take 15 seconds?
15 seconds, that's 14 now. Come on.
Yep. Quick. So on the teachers front, I saw there are 50% teachers in this room, and I have a question to all you teachers. One of the things that make us happy is recognition. A lot of schools bring in a lot of professionals in front of the students to help them understand what that profession means. How many times do you take a teacher in front of them to understand what a profession of teacher means? And that answers your question. You yourself can bring in the right recognition to your community. Please bring it on.
Okay, thank you for all your questions, and I apologize that there are many more, but there's more time for discussion, and discussion can go on after all of this is complete. But I just want one last intervention, and I hope not to be putting too much pressure. It's just a minute and just an observation from another country on what we're doing. So I'd like to invite Dr. Itakanji Marangi, Minister of Education of Namibia, just to say a couple of words and your observations, please.
Let's have a round of applause from the audience, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, moderator. But before I make my comments, I would like to really say that we need to applaud our teachers. I'm saying this because I'm also a parent. And humanity has been subjected to so many challenges, and they are felt everywhere across the globe. The recent one is the COVID pandemic. But when students got back to school, as parents, as communities, somehow we expected teachers to have some kind of a formula or magic to bring back kids to the level of effective learning. But the teachers themselves were also affected, just like all of us. So really it is because of that angle that I said we should indeed applaud our teachers globally. Now to come to my own comments, first and foremost, this is one of those wonderful gatherings. One that brings legislatures, that brings leaders of higher education institutions, primary education, secondary education, to reflect, and most importantly, to exchange ideas on what works for different parts of the world. And education is nothing else but service, preparation for service to humanity. That's what we are doing in the sector of education, wherever we find ourselves in the world. And those of us who are at the legislation point, we give policies or we put together policies, but we don't implement these policies. It's like a conveyor belt. We pass them on. It is those who are at the leadership of institutions and governance of institutions who must implement those. But if they are not given the right training, the right upskilling, because when you are in the sector of education, your own learning is lifelong. You can never say, I have reached the station, I have it all. Never. Because with technology, a lot is changing. Even your education, even your competencies, your experiences should be progressive. And you can be the best if you choose to learn continuously. Now, those who are at the institutions level, your interaction with your students must inform you as to what works and what is not working. Again, continuous assessment of what is working and what is not working. Now with COVID, all of us, even those who are at the legislature level, we definitely depend on teachers to inform us to say, look, the policies that you are now metering out should focus on this and that. Otherwise, we'll continue to make laws that are really archaic, that are really not applicable to contemporary times. But if we can have continuous research, like someone there said, research that feeds those who are in the legislation, those who are in the governance and leadership of institutions, then we stand a better chance of developing effective education systems for our country. Education systems that are responsive and relevant to challenges of our times. Well, we will have variations in certain areas because we face different challenges. There are those of us who really say that, for instance, the aspect of climate change is real. Our education system must be adaptive and address that. There are those who are saying food security is a challenge, or water scarcity is a challenge. Our education system must respond by actually ensuring that indeed, somehow, we find solutions that address our community challenges. And with that, I thank you.
Minister, thank you. I just add to that, trust is a big part of it. And I must admit, when you raised your question, one of the things I wanted to come back to you, I want to ask everyone to do this, but which one of us isn't a student? Put up your hands. No, don't. We're all students. That's why we're here, I think. So we're all learning, and if students come and join us, then that's a great thing. Please, once again, thank the Minister, but also thank our panel for their excellent contributions, and also thank yourselves for your wonderful questions. Thank you.